Everywhere I look, there are videos about the new 13-inch iPad Pro and the 13-inch iPad Air, and I own both and they are great iPads. But what's gone pretty much unnoticed is that Apple quietly lowered the price of the base 10-inch iPad to $349. That's an awesome price, and that's what this video is all about. Hi, my name is Rich and I bought the 10.9-inch base iPad when it first came out less than 2 years ago. And truthfully, I use it all the time. In fact, I use it for every video I make. It serves as a teleprompter. But the new price point on this iPad makes it, at least for me, the best bang for the buck in the iPad lineup. I've never completely understood Apple's pricing model. But when you compare it to the 11-inch iPad Air at $599 and the 11-inch iPad Pro at $899, you have to ask, what's going on? You can literally buy the base iPad, Apple's Keyboard Folio, and the Apple Pencil for $700 total. That's $200 less than the iPad Pro alone. I know the iPad Pro is a Ferrari, I get it, but in my neighborhood, no matter what kind of car you drive, you have to drive at the speed limit. And so it is with the iPads. They both run the same software. So I'll just say it again, this iPad is the best bargain you can get, and there are very few compromises with it too. Apple finally adopted the new form factor with the 10th gen iPad. It's got the square sides like the Air and the Pro models. In fact, it's almost indistinguishable from the 11-inch iPad Air. And the size just feels right in your hand, not too big, not too small. It's got great battery life, rated at 10 hours between charges. And by the way, I found that to be true. In fact, it typically lasts longer than 10 hours for me. So that means I can charge it while I sleep, and when I wake up, it's good to go for the day. It's got the A14 Bionic chip in it, which means it's fast. Every time I hear Apple mention the Bionic chip, I think of the Bionic Man. Anyway, I know everyone's talking about the super duper M4 chip put in the latest fancy iPads, but when you lay the expensive iPad Pro beside this base iPad and you open apps or watch videos, the speed difference is almost indistinguishable. The rear camera records video at 4K, which is just unbelievable. And without getting all technical, that is a fantastic resolution that'll guarantee high quality videos. That is if you plan to shoot videos with it, but it's there if you need it. It's also got landscape stereo speakers that sound really good. I don't tend to watch movies on my iPad, though I know a lot of people do. The sound quality, honestly, is fantastic for such a thin little device. In other words, you're going to be pleased with what you hear. It's got dual microphones for video calls and audio recording that work really well. I've never had anyone complain about the sound of my voice when making a FaceTime call. However, if you're used to the old round home button, then you need to know that's gone. Where the chin that's housed the home button used to be has been replaced by the screen, and the home button is now on the side. And it took me a little bit of time to get used to this change, but now I don't think anything about it. And I really do love that the screen size grew without the whole iPad getting bigger. Believe it or not, this iPad was the first iPad to have the front-facing ultra-wide camera located in landscape mode, which means it's centered on the long side of the iPad. Now when you make a FaceTime call, it doesn't look like you're looking off to the left. Instead, you're looking directly at the person you're talking to, a huge improvement. In fact, it's taken almost 2 years for this feature to come to the rest of the iPad lineup, but here it is, packed into the $349 base iPad. I love the liquid retina display. It's bright and its colors are perfect and it looks beautiful. Again, I know the expensive iPad Pros have nicer screens, but you'd have to put them side by side to see the difference. What I'm trying to say is that this screen is great, and up until a couple of years ago, it was the best screen available in the iPad lineup. When I bought this iPad, I went ahead and purchased Apple's Keyboard Folio 2. Now, it's completely different from Apple's other iPad keyboards. It's got a kickstand in the back, which attaches to the iPad with magnets, which I like, because you can adjust the angle to anything that suits you. And not only that, it detaches from the keyboard, so you can use it as a stand all on its own. Since the magnets are pretty strong, I guess you could just leave it attached all the time to the back of the iPad, to add some extra protection. Now, the keyboard and trackpad are good too. If you've ever typed on an Apple keyboard, then you know how this will feel. If not, just suffice it to say it feels very premium. The thing is though, this keyboard is not cheap. It costs $249, which is crazy considering the iPad costs $349. But, hey, for 600 bucks, you're into the Apple ecosystem with a great setup that you can use for years to come. Lastly, I'll mention the most bizarre thing about this iPad, and that's the Apple Pencil. You can only use the first generation Pencil with this iPad. This version of the Pencil has the old Lightning connector on it. But to charge the Pencil up, you have to use a USB-C cable with a Lightning connector dongle. And for an iPad that shines in so many other areas, this is, it's a mess. But having said that, it's not like you have to charge the Pencil every 10 minutes. Once it's fully charged, you're good to go for quite a while. And this iPad is a great size for writing notes. It's just, that the charging thing is weird. So is the 10th gen iPad a good choice in 2024? Well, you bet. Especially if this is your first iPad or an upgrade from an older iPad. For me, until the iPad operating system has some incredible feature set that will only run on the iPad Air or Pro, then this is the go-to purchase. I don't think you can go wrong. Okay, that's a wrap. I hope this short video helped you make a decision about whether to buy the 10th gen iPad in 2024. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.